Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So just recently, which I meant to make this video a few days ago, but just recently it was put out in the news that unfortunately the governor of Texas, Governor Greg Abbott, sent like over 100 immigrants piled on buses all the way up to Washington, D.C. to a location near the Vice President, Kamala Harris's estate. Her house. Now, I always say when these kind of things happen, you see how people really feel about other people. You see how inhumane and indecent some people can really be out there. Now, let's talk about this. Despite how you feel about open borders, about immigrants coming to our country, what happened, what he did, there was no excuse for that. And if I'm not mistaken, and I remember correctly, this ain't the first time that this happened. The same thing happened really just a couple of months ago, but the difference between that and now is places in the United States are going through hell because of that winter storm. Now, if you've been to Texas, if you're from Texas, then you know it doesn't usually get really cold. 40 degrees, everybody starts crying because to Texans, that's cold. But that's really not actual cold, right? Negatives, that's cold. 0, that's cold. Below freezing, that is cold. They took those people from the Mexico-Texas border, Texas, where it's hot, not actually cold, usually most of winter, and brought them to D.C. where they are experiencing below freezing temperatures. Now, the Texas governor, I feel like his response was, first of all, really disrespectful and quite backhanded, to be honest. He said that they knew exactly what they were doing, that they asked to be brought there, that they signed all kinds of contracts and waivers in different languages, so they weren't unaware of where they were going and what was going on. But he, who was the governor, who was aware of everything that was going on, that was, a lot more in the loop than these people were, knew that going from Texas to D.C., that they needed supplies, that they needed clothes, they needed coats, which none of them had. So to say they knew what they were doing, it's backhanded. It's pretty sad, really, because he knew those people weren't prepared for that kind of trip and that they really had nowhere to go once they got to D.C. And it was really sad and disgusting to see all the people on the internet basically saying, well, you Democrats, Kamala Harris, you wanted these immigrants in our country, so here, you take them at your house. And in my mind, I'm saying at her personal residence, what is wrong with you? In their minds, they probably thought, oh, yeah, we're going to where the vice president is of this country. One of the people that's probably responsible for helping us get into this country, because a lot of the people who are immigrating to the United States are trying to get away from hardships and problems in their own country. And they probably thought, oh, yeah, we're going to meet the person or see the person that's, going to help us, that helped us get in here, not knowing that they were going to go from, like I said, the Mexico-Texas border, not cold heat, to the freezing cold temperatures up in D.C. And before anybody says what I've been hearing too much of on the internet, which is, oh, well, we didn't have any, space to put them here in Texas, and we don't have anywhere for those people to go. I don't believe for one moment that there aren't any facilities out there that were set aside or built for this very reason. There were even people, whether you want to believe it or not, that were trying to get in contact with him so they could work out something to help get these people to a place where they would be better suited until they can get to the next point in their lives. I just feel like him sending them to Kamala's house was just, first of all, like I said, completely wrong, backhanded, and disrespectful on both their parts, taking advantage of their ignorance and their situation. And that is just a political shot taken at people just because they were open to the idea of having immigrants coming to our country to help better their own lives. Like I said, it doesn't matter how you feel about immigrants in our country. We should all be able to agree that what was done to those people was not right and that the situation should have been handled better. And a lot of people love to say, oh, well, why don't you come up with something? Like I said, they should have had some kind of facility, and I know that they do. I refuse to believe that there aren't any kind of buildings or facilities set up to help house and temporarily accommodate immigrants, especially since this is not a new problem. So that's why I refuse to believe that there isn't something out there set aside to help these people, because this is not a new problem that we've been going through. We've been going through this for years now. So to say that we don't have a way to solve this or fix this, or we didn't already have something set in place that somebody's not using, is to say that we're too incompetent to learn from our mistakes or fix problems before they actually happen. So now the problem is, why haven't we built anything? Like, if that's the case, if, oh, well, we just didn't have anywhere for them to go, we didn't have any facilities, I don't believe that we can't make that a possibility. So why haven't we? That's the problem. Why don't we have facilities set up to ship them to, instead of them being out in the cold and freezing over with no jackets? Some of them didn't even have shoes, allegedly. So why don't we have facilities set up to house people with restrooms and showers and, washing machines for them to wash their clothes and cots for them to lay down on and different types of funds and organizations to help feed these people until they can get on their feet? There's no excuse to not have something set in place now because of all the stuff we've already went through, because of all of the same stuff we've been going through. There's no excuse to not have something set in place. And for all the people who keep saying, oh, well, we haven't even taken care of the homeless problem here in America, why should we help other people from other countries? First of all, these are the same people that are congratulating people like Governor Greg Abbott for not wanting immigrants in our country and for sending them to Kamala Harris. Like I said, such a backhanded thing to do. Those same people that you're congratulating for those actions are the same people you need to be taking that problem up with, because they're literally the people who you take that kind of stuff up with. But anyways, like I said, the stuff that's happening, because like I said, this is not the first time this has happened. It's not right. And we shouldn't have to agree on whether you want immigrants in the country or not to be able to say that this is not right and something needs to be done differently. But anyways, y'all let me know respectfully what y'all think down in the comments below.